Are you worried that losing weight is the only way you can improve your health? Maybe you've heard of health at every size and you're wondering, is it really possible to be healthy at every size? Well, spoiler, it is. And in today's video, I'm going to be sharing the science behind how you can be healthy at every size. On this channel, you will learn the science behind why you overeat and health at every size and how you can have a healthy relationship with food and your body. I'll teach you tangible take-home strategies that you can use in your own life. If this sounds like just what you need, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell in the top right corner so you're notified when I publish a new video. I post a new video every week. I'm Meredith MacKenzie, and I'm a registered clinical counselor and an intuitive eating coach. I've helped hundreds of women who are struggling with poor body image and a difficult relationship with food to attune to their body's true hunger and fullness needs, repair their relationship with food, and go on to live a fully engaged life. Now, in order to understand how it's possible to be healthy at every size, we need to understand what that definition of a healthy body size is. The health at every size movement defines healthy weight as that weight that your body settles at when you are engaging in healthful behaviors and moving towards a meaningful and fulfilling life. And what does that even mean? Well, first, health at every size really encourages that a healthy lifestyle will look like listening to your body's internal cues for hunger and fullness, rather than eating in a restrained way. It also means engaging in enjoyable and sustainable and reasonable amounts of physical activity. And the theory with all of this is that the more you engage in this healthful lifestyle that feels genuinely right for you, your body will eventually come to a place where it settles at a weight that is the right and healthy weight for your specific body. That doesn't mean that everybody is going to fit into the thin ideal. That's like saying everybody should be a size 5 shoe. But we all know that there's different size shoe sizes, and so there's different size people as well. But if you are engaging in regular healthful activities, then that is more likely that you are going to be at your own personal ideal set point. Now, this is also where intuitive eating and health at every size really complement one another, because there is this encouragement to really listening to your internal cues and following what your body needs rather than following an external plan or diet or exercise regime. So if you're interested in learning more about intuitive eating, I've done a whole bunch of videos on that, and I will link it in this card up above as well as in the description box down below for you to check out. Now, the typical medical approach is that if you've been labeled as overweight or obese by BMI, that you would then be prescribed a regimen of changing your eating habits, reducing your intake, increasing your exercise levels, and other behavior changes that would ultimately be aimed at you reducing your weight overall. The problem with this, though, and I have covered this in a previous video, which again I will link up here, why diets don't work, is that when you try to lose weight, the outcome of that is quite short term for most people. The majority of people who lose weight end up gaining the weight back, if not more. And because of this, all of the benefits that doctors and you are probably hoping to see with weight loss aren't found, because it doesn't improve your overall longevity of your life or your overall well-being of your body if you're weight cycling and losing weight and gaining weight and losing weight and gaining weight. So really, this older traditional approach of promoting weight loss to deal with health issues doesn't really work. The other problem with this older approach is that it also leads to unintended consequences. This includes being really preoccupied with food. And so if you've ever gone on a diet, you probably recognize that food is on your mind quite a lot more. That it can also take away the focus on all of those other health behaviors, because it gets really simplified into decreasing the intake of your calories and increasing the outtake or the exercise of your calorie burning. And so because of this, you're not focusing on the truly beneficial health benefits of some of these other behaviors that you might have been otherwise. It can also really impact self-esteem and how you feel about yourself, and in some cases lead to disordered eating. It also just piles on that weight stigmatization that you're not trying hard enough, and that can be something that you both internalize and experience in your relationship with your healthcare provider. So when we think about this whole approach from a medical standpoint, we really need to question, is this an ethical approach to taking with our clients and our patients? And is this something that you as a human being want to be engaged in? Because not only does it not benefit the majority of people, there's actually quite a bit of damaging effects of this type of approach. So let's talk about health at every size and where it fits in. Now, when we look at research, the gold standard of research is doing a randomized control trial, which means some people are designated to a specific group and the other are designated to the other group. So in this situation, they would have been receiving health at every size and not health at every size approaches, probably more the traditional approach. And so when they look at those studies, with 6 of them, which we know that's a good amount of research for this type of research, they found that health at every size actually improves the health outcomes far better and more significantly than if you took the traditional approach to medical weight loss and trying to use weight loss as the way of improving somebody's health. So they looked at things like your physiology, your blood pressure, and the amount of lipids in your blood. They looked at the health behaviors that the person was engaging in. So that's their eating habits and the choices that they're making with their food and the movements that they're making with their body. They also looked at things like self-esteem and disordered eating and relationship with food. And overall, they found that health at every size achieves these health outcomes better than traditional weight loss regimes. The other thing that's important to note is they also found no adverse effects of using a health at every size approach, whereas the same cannot be said for a traditional weight loss treatment. Unfortunately, when it comes to the medical system and how we really perceive people who live in larger bodies and their need to live a happy and healthy life, is that if you say something enough times, it tends to be taken on as fact, even if the research doesn't support that. And so as I'm breaking down these next few sections, I just want you to keep in mind that what you have heard might not actually be true, and I'm going to be talking about that research here. First, there's this idea that being overweight shortens your lifespan. And this isn't true. Except for in situations of statistical extremes where someone's weight is at the far edges of what people typically weigh, weight does not predict longevity of someone's life. What they've actually found is that people who are overweight to moderately obese live just as long as people in average size bodies or normal size bodies according to BMI, and they actually in some cases live longer. Researchers pooled together 26 studies with 350,000 total participants and found that people who were overweight did not live a shorter lifespan than anyone in a normal body weight, and in many cases lived longer. So all of this has you questioning, where did that information come from? Why is there this belief that if you live in a larger body that you are somehow going to live a shorter lifespan? And I really think that a lot of it comes down to discrimination and this idea of weight stigmatization, that if you live in a larger body that you are somehow harming yourself. And I think we really need to challenge that idea because it's not actually supported by research literature. The other thing that we tend to just believe is that the more you weigh, the sicker you're going to be, or the more health implications you're going to have. And yes, if you look at the research, it does show that being in a larger body or being overweight is associated with greater health risks or greater experience of health concerns. However, let's just think about this. Just because you say these two things are related does not mean that one causes the other. An example of this is in the summertime. Ice cream sales go up, right? We love ice cream on a hot day. And at the same time, deaths by drowning increase. And we would never say that the two are related in a way that one causes the other, that by buying ice cream or by selling ice cream, that somehow increases drowning deaths. Just because two things coexist does not mean that one causes the other. And the same is suspected to be true based on the research that exists when we look at research literature on weight and outcomes of health. When we're really critical of the research that does exist, we notice that it's very simple research, or the factors that they've looked at have been very simplified. And they have not looked at things like dietary intake or physical movement or socioeconomic status, these other things that can really impact a person's life and their well-being. And so when you actually control for those factors, they find that a person's weight and their health risks or their diseases will actually either be completely disappeared or significantly reduced. So one theory that's been put forward into why is this happening and why do we see in many people who are of a larger body type, why are they experiencing greater health risks when we're saying that that doesn't actually exist? Well, one of the big things is weight cycling. Weight cycling is when you lose weight and then you gain weight, and then you lose weight and then you gain weight, and then you lose weight again from a diet and then you gain it back. And If anybody has struggled with their weight, you will be very familiar with this dynamic, and it is something that we just really wish would stop, and we take on that next diet and then we gain weight again. And that's super common because, like I said, losing weight and maintaining that weight loss is incredibly difficult for the majority of people, and it's also very stressful on the body. Weight cycling like this increases inflammation in your body, and this inflammation has been linked to a whole host of health complications that we often assign to people who are of larger body type, like hypertension or insulin resistance or blood lipids that are out of balance, such as your cholesterol. We also know that people who lose and gain weight and lose and gain weight also experience more increased issues with their cardiovascular health. And so the idea is that actually it's not that someone is living in a larger body that is contributing to their poor health, but the act of losing weight and gaining and losing and gaining, and that is the stressor on the body that impacts our health overall. When we are looking at the actual research studies that do measure for this weight cycling factor, they found that all of the mortality within a person's life experience was associated with this weight cycling phenomenon. So if you're interested in learning more about this and you're like, Meredith, I don't believe you, I need to read it myself, I have included a link to the article in the description box down below, because this article is just gold and you're going to want to read it yourself. Another misconception we have about living in a larger body and our health is that if you lose weight, you will prolong your life. Like, just do it for yourself, do it for your kids, lose the weight and live a longer, happy life, right? It's what we keep pushing on people because it's what we want. We want them to be healthy and live a long time. And quite unfortunately, the research that does exist on weight loss is that people who started out as obese and they intentionally lost weight actually put themselves at a risk for premature death. Even when the people were being watched and monitored and it was done in a way that was considered safe and healthy, and they even, watched out for all of these hazardous behaviors or diseases that might have been confounding factors, that actually the act of weight loss is stressful on the body and that this is something that contributes to premature death. And if we dig a little bit deeper, yes, there are research studies out there that show that weight loss is connected with health improvements. However, again, they're not teasing apart or really providing information on those factors that promote health, like our actual behaviors that we're engaging in. And so the problem is that when these behaviors are only short-lived because then someone gains weight back, the improvements that you see in their overall health are only short-lived. And we know that it's not simply the fact that you've lost weight that you have improved your health overall, because they've done research on patients who received liposuction and followed them and monitored them for a 10 to 12 week period where they lost a significant amount of weight, over 10 kilograms on average. And they found that when they were not engaging in any kind of behavior change, they had just simply lost the physical mass off their body, that they didn't see any improvements in their health overall. And so this again just points right to the fact that it's the behavior, it's the health-focused behaviors that are so important in improving your health, not your actual physical body mass. Now, I'm curious, what are your thoughts on the traditional approach to weight loss to improve health? Is there anything that I've been talking about in today's video that was surprising to you or new to you or added to your understanding? Comment in the comment section down below, and I can't wait to chat with you. So let's get to the good stuff. Can you be healthy at every size? And health at every size has been what has been proposed and has been found to have great impacts on health and quality of life. As one of the core principles of health at every size, it really promotes self-acceptance and body acceptance as you are at its foundation. And what this does is, when we've looked at the research, right, we've tried over the years that we feel like if we can just almost shame someone into, how can you be at this weight? You shouldn't be like this. You need to make a change, that will motivate somebody to make those changes. And they found the complete opposite. When you feel shame about your body, you're not able to make those changes. You're not able to be consistent. You're not able to feel motivated and excited about these healthful behaviors. And so self-compassion and, positive self-regard has been a really big piece, not only in eating disorder recovery research and treatment that is now active, but also in trying to understand how do we help people who live in larger bodies to want to take care of themselves and want to do things that are good for them to promote their own health. And we know that this works because those randomized control trials have actually shown that a health at every size approach has not resulted in weight gain. If anything, maintenance or weight loss, but it's because they have been engaging in more healthful behaviors, that they're engaging in quality intake of food and better movement behaviors. The other reason that health at every size works is that it focuses on internal evaluation of how you're feeling in the moment, how your body's feeling, to how you engage with these behaviors. Relying on your own hunger cues, relying on your own satiety cues, relying on your own urges and how your body feels when it moves. All of these things actually help you to regulate yourself in a very genuine way to what your body needs, rather than looking for an external source for guidance and information on what we should be doing. And the opposite is true when we look at these traditional weight loss treatment methods. The literature over and over and over again says that any kind of food restraint and restriction of food actually leads to weight gain in the future. And so I will link to that video here of why diets don't work and the science on that, so that you can watch that after this one. And when they followed people over time who take this health at every size approach and really tune into their body's needs, they have found that it improves our enjoyment of food in so many ways, but also helps us pay attention to things like, how does my body feel when I eat this specific food? How does my body feel when I eat this specific food? When I move my body in this way? It can also help with things like even digestion and how your body processes food, and managing your emotions rather than eating in response to having a difficult emotion. And intuitive eating, which is associated with health at every size, has been linked to better dietary intake, less disordered eating behaviors, not additional weight gain. And even though weight loss is definitely not the goal or focus of intuitive eating, that it has in many cases been linked to weight loss. And finally, health at every size really encourages something called active embodiment, which is about listening to your body and moving for joy and that great feeling that you get when moving your body, rather than having to rely on structured exercise. This helps people to engage in self-care and to really listen to their bodies, rather than having an external expectation of exercising for a certain frequency per week or moving your body for a certain amount of time, or that exercise has to look like this very rigid perspective, and allows you to be more in touch with your body and enjoy the movement that you're engaging in, which then is just going to increase your likelihood of doing it. And health at every size really promotes repairing that relationship of distrust that you might have built from diet culture, because you were taught to override your body's needs and to not listen to what your body needed. And so instead, repairing that relationship and attuning to your body and giving it what it needs in a kind, gentle, and respectful way. So can you be healthy at every size? That is a hard question, because your individual body and what is good for your body is going to be unique and different just for you. But if you are following a health at every size approach, you are going to move closer and closer and closer to your body's own ideal set point. And that will be, according to the science that I've presented today, that will be a health focused way for you to be living and your healthiest weight. Now, if you have found today's video interesting and you want to learn more about health at every size, or you want to hear more about what people are talking about and how medical professionals and different people who work in this space talk about health at every size, my student Hazel Jonas has been recording a podcast mini-series for you to listen to, and we will be publishing it in the month of April. Now, if you are interested in hearing it, get on the wait list below, or if the podcast is already published by that time, I'll be updating that link so that it is the live podcast. So get on the list for that. In today's video, I talked very briefly, but a little bit about intuitive eating. And if you are interested in going on your own intuitive eating journey, learning more about how you can attune to your body and give up diet culture so that you have a more healthy relationship with food and reduce triggers to binge eat and overeat and emotionally eat, I would love to talk to you. I have some openings in my program, One Body to Love, that is for women who struggle with emotional eating and binge eating, and I would love to talk to you. So I invite you to book a call with me. I will put a link in the description box down below where you can contact me. If you found this video helpful, let me know by giving it a like and subscribing to the channel. I publish new videos every Wednesday. And if you think that somebody else could benefit from learning more about how health at every size can be a healthy approach to promoting your overall wellness and physical well-being, share this video with them, please. I'd love to have them view and be a new subscriber to the channel as well.